Hello, welcome to, I guess, the first video of the gardening series with Ibc Totes, because, well, we do that around my area and I don't see anything about it on YouTube, so here it is for your enjoyment and knowledge. Now there's two distinct Ibc Totes that we have, and that's non-food grade and then food grade. These are all food grade. They all had used vegetable oil stored in them, and so that's why we can use them, because vegetable oil is obviously made from vegetables. And my dog. All right, so there's a few things that you might need, or you probably will need. Sawzall. Sawzall works fantastic for cutting the actual tote itself. You can, I guess, use just the Sawzall to also cut the metal frame. Now, my beds are all cut at this line right here, evenly all the way around. Makes it a nice straight cut, looks good, and you don't have to worry about it, I guess, trying to make everything straight. You can just slap the blade on there, run it around, works great. Now, if you do have a grinder on hand, now make sure you have your guard on and your thingy on. I know most people don't, but hey, safety, right? And then you'll just do the same thing, just set your blade right on this beam and cut these off. Now you can just use the Sawzall. Grinder just gets through the steel a little bit faster, and then you can save your blades for your Sawzall just for the plastic, and you won't go through blades for your Sawzall very fast. And the grinding discs last forever. Cutting this pretty much makes it easy. Now, you also need an adjustable or a wrench, depending. They have self tappers holding on some metal plates. These don't have the metal plates, but I will put in a little snippet of how I removed one by hand. But you might need an adjustable to remove some small bolts. You'll also need a screwdriver or a drill that has a Torx in it, and this bit is a T30. Now, the T30 can sometimes be a little small, depending on which style of tote it is. So for this one, the T30 has a little bit of slack in it, and on this style, which I'll give you some close-ups right here, but on this style, it's actually tight. So I find that the T30 is just large enough to actually work on probably what is a T35, but the T30 is just large enough that you can still do it. So T30 will do all of your tote bolts at the top if you want to take them apart. Now, I would recommend that you do take the cross members out of the top. I'll show you one. There's two different styles. So we have a square tube, which is nice. It also has a more J-track here, and what's nice about that is that no matter what level you're on, you could, now that's a round, this is my square, you could put it in and then have a support going across the top of your bed. You can also hook your water line up to then, run your water line against something solid, keep it a little bit nicer looking, but that's up to you. I'd recommend keeping these. This style, the more round oval tube, that's this type tote here, it's threaded in. It's not as great of a connection as the squares, but if you really wanted to, you could, I guess, drill a hole through your middle beam and reinstall it, but the square tubes are definitely easier for that. And the last tool that you'll need to do the project is a drill with a drill bit. Now, this one looks like it's a 1/4 inch. Doesn't really matter as long as it's about 4-ish inches long. And it's got to be decently small. I'd say the 3/8 is probably too large. 1/4 inch is probably perfect. So, right here is what your Torx is. A little bolt here. Pretty simple. I just have a ratcheting screwdriver. Works quite well in my opinion. I like it. You could put this bit into a drill and it would do it a lot faster. Now, because they're straight through and the holes are threaded, once you're done one side, the other side can tend to be a pain, but a little bit of brute force and you will be able to remove these no problem. As you can see, this one just likes to spin, so I just put my hand on it, grab it so it stops rotating, and you can ratchet this off quite easily. Now this one is kind of bent, so it may want to go, but because it's bent a little bit, it's not going to go anywhere. It's not going to flop around like the last one. So, these ones, all the totes have little tiny hoopy thingies here. Just basically, these cross members are to hold up the center when it's filled, so that way, I guess it doesn't collapse in, I would assume, but we're cutting the top off, so we don't need these. Now the Torx on these ones actually go underneath the support here. So when you pull these off, you don't actually have to worry about it. They're just threaded into the other side. And so these ones come out rather easily. And these are the T30s. So a T30 bit fits perfect. Now there's a little tiny trick when it comes to taking the cross members off. I've found quite an easy way to do it, and I'll show you here. Yeah, okay. So with these ones, you can pull up. See, it's kind of tough, but if you rotate, this one might just be a little bit tougher than the rest. Oh, there it goes. Now, you got the one side off just by lifting it. Now you rotate, and you can pull it towards you. Once it's towards you, just pull it this way. Once you get close to the middle, rotate it back to its proper orientation, come through, and lift up to the center and pull out. So with this one, we're going to rotate it. We're going to lift up, pretty simple. We're going to rotate it counterclockwise, pull towards the center, rotate it back, lift, and pull it through. Now at this point, if you want to, you don't necessarily have to do that step if you're just going to use the Sawzall and cut around with the Sawzall. Because then that just keeps the top to the top and you can kind of mitigate everything. But like I said, your Sawzall blades will be eaten pretty quick. So for my process, I like to use the grinder. I have one, so I will cut first. Now, at this point, we're going to grind. We're going to cut. We're going to cut right here, flat. Now, the reason why I do that instead of just cutting the top open is because I don't really like how far away the top rung already is. Now, if you want to say that the top rung, because everything is sealed at the moment, is going to last a lot longer and it's not going to fail and it's not going to rust and all that stuff, then you could technically leave this the way that it is right now and just cut the top of the IBC open and then you'd be set. Now for me, well, it's at the top of my tummy, about 4 feet. So, you short people, obviously, 4 feet would be pretty high. For the tall people, 4 feet is still pretty high. Imagine a bean plant on here. Well, a bean plant is all of a sudden the top of the bean plant would all of a sudden be at my eyeballs. So I don't know about you, but I like to pick beans below my eyes. Anyways, for this purpose of the video, I'm not actually going to use the grinder. No battery in it. But pretty simple. It is a little sketchy, okay? Because you're cutting it, and there's a little bit of a force here and here. When you're cutting it, go very slow right before you're all the way through, because sometimes the top likes to get pulled into the bottom, and it might give you a little shock or a surprise. So just be aware of that. Once you're done with the grinder, this is what it'll look like on the round tube. Basically, your top bar, and then everything was cut flush with this right here. Now this one obviously has the tote cut as well. I did a couple the other day, but that's what it would have kind of looked like. Cut them all, take this off, and then you want to grab your Sawzall, and you want to enter the tote this way. So start by just kind of on a corner, and then as soon as you're through, you actually want to cut it where the teeth and the cutting force is actually pulling it towards the outside. Now you want to do that mainly so as you're coming around, see how this tote's kind of bowing in? Well, if it bows in too far and you're kind of flat with it, the tote will just, it'll kind of just dance. Kind of a waste of time. So if you go put it on an angle, it'll actually pull it into the metal, and then you're also kind of forcing it. You get to some spots, you force it through. And this is kind of why I said you could technically, I guess, use the Sawzall to even cut the steel, because they do make metal / plastic Sawzall blades, which would save you some steps, I guess you could say. But run it around, you'll have, keep an eye on it to make sure that it's actually level. Sometimes if the tote wants to push in a little bit too far, your blade might go on an angle and it might dive down below your smooth edge. Like this one, I went a little bit. I mean, like it's like an 1/8, almost a 1/4 inch. You know, like I'm 1/4 inch low on one side, but I'm pretty flat everywhere else. So obviously, if you want perfection, don't expect perfection the first time. I'm trying to help you by saying, you know, cut this way, pull it towards the metal. It does work rather nicely. Okay, so welcome to my tote garden. Now, as you can see, I have a row here. It's not quite as long as the row here. Now we put these ones in, well, the 3 that you can currently see that have, those 2 have strawberries, and this one just has straw. This one did have strawberries, but they were everbearing, and well, we like to, I'd say, get a bountiful crop at least once a year, so we can do our freezing and canning and stuff. But so these are our June, and we're gonna have these 5 as all June bearing strawberries at some point. But this year we have these 2 containers. That 3rd one will be used for lettuce or something, and then the new row that we're putting in right now, this row, is for beans. Now, since I've put these rows in, I'll show you what I use the drill for. Alright, so on these totes, you have all these little holes. As you can see on the camera, it actually does show up quite well. You're going to take your drill bit, and you're just going to punch a hole right through the plastic tote. Now, I recommend that you just go where the holes already are. It's just easy. It's not like you really need them. There's a big valve on these that you want to leave open anyways. I hope you can see that. Can you see that? No. Okay. Alright, so there's a big valve on these things anyways. Right here. So you're going to leave that ball valve open the entire time that the bed is in use. So after you got all those holes punched in it, And you just want to put it into its home where it's going to live for the next, well, however many years you want to keep it for. That's why we're doing the IBCs. They're cheap. I picked all these ones up for 30 bucks a piece, which for a raised garden bed that gets you, 3+ feet off the ground for 30 bucks. It's pretty good. It's about 40 by 42 roughly. So you have almost 16 square feet worth of garden for 30 bucks on a raised garden bed. To me, that's cheap. And if I want to later down the road get something a little bit more fancy, well, because I didn't take the base off of these IBCs and I have a tractor, I can just come in with the forks, pick up the IBC tote, and move it to wherever I want. So that's an added bonus. So you're probably wondering about this space here. Now, I have a wagon that we'll probably end up using for most of this stuff, but I was just thinking about your daily needs in the garden, and well, you want a wheelbarrow. Well, you also want to have ample space so you're not bashing your knuckles off of things. So it's probably about the width of one IBC. Well, I hope you enjoyed this little video of mine, a little instructional on IBC tote raised garden bed creation. And I guess stay tuned for further episodes. We're obviously going to do a little bit of a rundown on lifespan, what to look out for, what to pay attention to, and what you can paint them with. Because obviously, if you don't like the look of this, well, it is just plastic and it is just metal, and you can paint them. So we're going to go over what types of paint you can paint them with, what to do to protect them, because this is HDPE, which is a high dense polyethylene. Pretty sure that's what it is. And it will degrade in the sun a little bit, but in their current use is just hanging out, holding some dirt. They're going to last a very long time, and just make sure that you use food grade IBCs, because food grade is obviously safe for you, which means it's safe for your plants that you will be consuming. So, like I said, if you can find some vegetable oil IBC totes, those will be probably the best things that you can find. Obviously give them a rinse before putting anything in them, because there can be residues, but obviously fertilizer is a decent one because it's well fertilizer. Those are also fine, especially after washing them out. So just make sure that you choose an IBC tote and get them from somebody that you trust, because nothing will be worse than you getting in an IBC thinking that it's food grade oil and getting motor oil, because that would suck. Anyways, I hope you had a great day, and see you in the next one.